Marine Corps boot camp is so unique. You can't bring anything with you. You got your clothes on that you have. You have a little manila folder with your paperwork in it, and they get indoctrinated to what's about to happen for the next 13 weeks.
Welcome back to Mulligan Brothers. Today's video, as always, was sponsored by Huel. I'm drinking Huel Black Edition, which has 26 vitamins and minerals, 35 grams of protein and slow release carbs to make sure that I can stay satiated and proteined up whilst I make these documentaries. If you want to find out more about these, go to the link in the description. I'll talk about them a little bit later on in the video. So the Marines, I think the interesting thing, especially for our audience, is the training process, going through that. So you sent out these letters, you've been, you're working towards something, you don't have a strong education. What's that process like and that moment like?
Somehow there's a miracle that happened that I scored really high on what's called the ASVAB, which is the academic test to get in the military. And there's a score on it called the GT score, General Technical Score. It's your problem solving ability. And when you're wanting to go into special operations, that score has to be like a 115, which is like the score to become a pilot, so it's a very high score. For someone that failed out of high school and didn't have a high school diploma, the fact that I scored 116 on the test, 1 point over to 115, qualified me to go into special operations. Now, back at that time, there wasn't a contract for that with the Marine Corps, so I had to sign an infantry contract. So I signed the infantry contract, went through Marine Corps boot camp, which is 13 weeks long, and unarguably, out of the 4 branches, the Marine Corps boot camp is the longest and most difficult. It's the most disciplined boot camp. I've always been proud of the fact that my dad went to Marine Corps boot camp San Diego. Myself and both my sons went there. And now I get to go speak there. I've been speaking there for 10 years at Marine Corps to all the recruits there. So it's a very special place for me. But after you graduate Marine Corps boot camp, you go to what's called Marine Combat Training, which is 4 weeks. Back in my day, you did that and infantry school. Now I think if you go to infantry school, you don't have to go to that. And then I did 8 weeks of infantry school and tried out for RECON while I was there. And I actually passed the indoctrination, but they didn't take me because for some reason they did that indoctrination for all the guys in infantry school, but then they said they didn't want any guys at that junior level. And so even though I passed it, I didn't get picked up to go. I went to 29 Palms, California, which is a Marine Corps base. I chose there. Most Marines never want to end up there because it's the Mojave Desert. It gets 130 degrees in the summertime. It's just a very harsh climate to train as an infantry Marine there. But I chose it because I had this image that the toughest Marines were 29 Palms Marines. And so I went there, ended up going to my unit and then tried out for what's called Stay Platoon, Surveillance Target Acquisitions Platoon, which is the sniper platoon for the regiment, 7th Marines Regiment. And I got selected for that, went there, spent a few months there, then tried out for RECON again and got picked up that time. And so when you go become a RECON Marine, there's lots of training in the beginning. The basic reconnaissance course and is where you go to become a RECON Marine. And then you go through, over time. Now it's a pipeline. You do everything in a year. But over time, you go to jump school, dive school, free fall school, SERA school, survival, escape and resistance and evasion course. And you go through all these different schools for your job. And then there's tons of other little schools in the beginning. I went to a school called McQuist School and Hearstmaster and all these really great schools to learn how to do your job and insert and extract and actually operate as a reconnaissance Marine. And so I did 4 years as a reconnaissance Marine and at that time, the battalions of the Marine Corps went down the company and they put a platoon in every regiment. And so my platoon was actually stayed in 29 Palms under this guy called Colonel Mattis. He ended up becoming General Mattis. A lot of people know who General Mattis is, but before he was a general, he's a colonel. He was the commander of 7th Marines. So he's pretty famous here in the States. But before he was General Mattis, who everybody knows is Mad Dog Mattis, and he was a Secretary of Defense under President Trump. He was the colonel of 7th Marines Regiment, and so we worked directly for him, and that was a really great experience. And I learned a lot as a young, brand new RECON Marine in that capacity. And this is 1993 to 1997, and peacetime military. We did some counter drug operations down the Mexican border and stuff like that, but there was no war. And so for me, being a recon Marine, all this training, you kind of want to go to war, which sounds terrible after I've been part to war now. But at the time when you're young, you're like, I want to go do my job. And so without any wars going on, I thought, okay, I'm gonna take a break from active duty, go in the reserves, which is part-time. I'm gonna go to 3rd Force Recon Company, which is in Mobile, Alabama, move back to where I'm from, go to college, and go back in as an officer. And that was my plan. My wife, I got married to Kathy by then. We started our family. Hunter was born, my oldest son who you met today. He was born on 29 Palms, the Marine Corps base there. And I'm like, it'd be better for me to be an officer with a wife and starting a family. More money, more security. And so that was my plan. I needed a job. And so I couldn't just go to college. I needed a job. So I was part-time with the Marine Corps. And then I got a job as with the police department. And so that was my 4 years active and then 4 years reserve as a police officer.
Today's episode, as always, was powered by Huel. This stuff has been absolutely crucial to my training and the world record I just broke, the world's heaviest marathon, where I carried 220 pounds for 28 miles. Yes, I achieved it, guys. It is done. This is what I was drinking. Huel Black Edition. It has 35 grams of protein, 26 vitamins and minerals and slow release carbs. And it's what I use in my training all the time. But don't just take my word for it. People like the hardest geezer ran across Africa drinking this stuff. It's absolutely amazing. And if you want to get exclusive offers and deals, go to the link in the description and you can find out more about their other products like their daily greens and their meals, which I eat every single lunchtime. Thank you to Huel for sponsoring the video, and let's dive back into the episode. When we're talking about the boot camp phase,
yeah,
what's that like? Like, some of the hardest training,
Yeah.
But how would you describe it to somebody who's not even experienced any kind of training like that ever?
Marine Corps boot camps it's an amazing process. Like when you take this is what I love most about Marine Corps boot camp, and I get to see it all the time now because I've been speaking there for 10 years. I've spoken to 500,000 active duty troops now, mostly at Marine Corps boot camp, San Diego, Parris Island. But when these kids go there, and every branch of service is different, and their basic training is different, but Marine Corps boot camp is so unique because it's so historical. There's so much tradition in the way they do it. You go there and you stand on these right when you get off the bus, right? The drill instructors meet you at the airport. All these kids are waiting there. You can't bring anything with you. You got your clothes on that you have. You have a little manila folder with your paperwork in it, and your driver's license. You can't bring anything with you. And they're waiting at the airport, and the drill instructors come get them at the airport. If you ever want to see it, you can go see at the USO at the San Diego airport. You can go watch on a Friday. They're going to get picked up, and you can see the drill instructors coming there, yell at them. They get them on the bus, and they drive across the street because the airport's literally like the neighbors to the MCRD San Diego Marine Corps boot camp. And you get there and you get off the bus and they put you in these yellow footprints. And these yellow footprints, because no one would know where to stand, how to stand in a formation. So they stand in these yellow footprints. And they get indoctrinated to what's about to happen for the next 13 weeks. And when they're standing, this is what I was saying is most significant. When these young men and women, essentially they're kids at that point, 17, 18, 19 years old. Some of them, some people come in late. You go up to 28 years old if you're an old man going there. But, they go there and they're standing on these yellow footprints. And at that point, for them, nothing behind them matters. It doesn't matter if they were rich or poor, black or white. Doesn't matter who their daddy was. Doesn't matter if they lived in the projects or a mansion, the ghetto or trailer park. None of that matters. Like, no one cares. And they're going to be stripped completely of who they were, and they're going to have an opportunity, standing on yellow footprints, to pave their own trajectory. And as a young man or young woman, and I think that's one of the most beautiful things that transitions in adulthood, because it's so pure. Like, because so many times, if you go to college or whatever, you have so much influence for where you came from, and the Marine Corps doesn't care. They want you to be a Marine, and you could choose what type of Marine you want to be, what job you want to do, if you want to be a good Marine, bad Marine, but what you did before, where you come from, it doesn't matter at all. They don't care. Again, they don't care what color you are. None of that matters, and they're going to just completely strip you of everything. From your identity, from who you are, how you were raised, how you did things, and at the most fundamental level. Like, here's your left sock, hold up your left hand, right? His right, like everything. You put your left sock on your left foot. Like it's just from the beginning, they're reprogramming you for the way they want you to be, and everything's very intentional, and it builds a foundational, a foundation of a Marine that whatever their job going to be, that the Marine Corps knows how to build off of that. And it just takes them down to that very fundamental level. And what these kids don't realize is at that moment, again, they have a very fundamental choice they can make of what type of Marine they're going to be, what type of man or woman they're going to be moving forward. And for me, at that young age of 17, I knew where I was coming from. There was no going back. I mean, I was coming from nothing. Like I didn't even belong there. Like I didn't have a high school diploma. I didn't belong there. I was required to have a high school diploma to get there. I didn't even belong there. Like, so like the only way for me to go is forward. Like I'm going to embrace this opportunity. I'm going to do everything I can with this opportunity. And I was very, very aware of that in that moment. So I really wanted to dive in and embrace that opportunity. And I remember I can remember 30 years ago, I can remember being like, man, I'm going to do the very best job I could do here. And I did. I graduated as a squad leader at a Marine Corps boot camp. There's 100 kids in the platoon. There's 4 squad leaders and a guide, and I graduated as a squad leader at a Marine Corps boot camp. And then I went to, going on all those other schools. I got honor grad out of infantry school and got an award meritorious mast out of infantry school. And it was just all that was just a really clear, deliberate decision to embrace that opportunity. And like I remind these kids when they go there, well, when I get to speak to them of where they are, because a lot of them aren't aware of that.